The audio didn't change it at all, because I was not really interested in that, why things happened, because I knew I saw the outcome. I saw a goal which we scored, and it didn't count. So I was now not waiting for the audio and then sitting there and hoping I find out how it could happen or whatever. So what I want to say is it's really important that we, as big as football is, that we just, and important as football is for us at least, that we really deal with it in a proper way. So, and I mean that all of the people involved, on-field ref, linesman, fourth official, and especially now in this case VAR, they didn't do that on purpose. So, and we should not forget that. Yes, it was a mistake, an obvious mistake, and I think there would have been solutions for it afterwards. If not, and I can say immediately, even probably some people don't want me that to say, but not as a manager of Liverpool so much, more as a football person, I think the outcome should be a replay. That's how it is. Probably will not happen. The argument against that will probably be, if we open that gate, then everybody will ask for it. I think the situation is that unprecedented that it didn't happen before in that moment. And we are all used. I'm 56 years old, and I'm since 50 years in football, and I'm absolutely used. I don't deal always well with it, but I'm used to wrong decisions, difficult decisions, blah, 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 all these kind of things. But something like that, as far as I can remember, never happened. And that's why I think a replay would be the right thing. And against the argument would be, if it would happen again, I think a replay would be the right thing to do. Or the ref has the opportunity to bring both coaches together and say, sorry, we made a mistake, but we can sort it. Let Liverpool score a goal and we start from there. In the specific game, it was what makes it a bit more special than obviously is that we conceded 2 minutes after we scored a regular goal, and how all things depend on each other. If the goal would have counted, we would have started the game. The game would have started in the center of the game pitch and not where it started, and all these kind of things. It would have been different. So that's one thing, and yeah, that's my view on it. And I'm not angry with anybody of them or whatever, not at all. And I really think it's not only the respect, but the only thing for human beings in general, that you should not go for them, really. It's not allowed to go for them in no way. They made a mistake and they felt horrible that night, I'm 100% sure. And that's enough for me. So nobody needs further punishment or whatever.
So Jurgen Klopp wants Liverpool's game against Tottenham to be replayed because of the disallowed goal which Luis Diaz scored at the weekend, the one which caused all the VAR controversy, the fact that it was a good goal that wasn't given because the assistant VAR, failed to realise that the on-field decision had been an offside rather than onside. It was chaotic and it left Liverpool at the end of the game losing to Tottenham, losing their first game of the season. But what Klopp is suggesting would bring even more chaos. It's a crazy idea to suggest that the game should be replayed because of a mistake. What happens next? Does that mean that Wolves get a replay because of the referee's failure to award a penalty to Wolves in the last minute at Old Trafford early this season when Andre Onana cleaned out Sasa Kaladzic? Do they get a replay because they could have got an extra point for that game? Do Fulham get a replay because the goal that Nathan Ake scored, despite the fact that Manuel Akanji was blocking goalkeeper Bernd Leno's view? So they lost that game 2-1. They had that ultimately end of the season. That defeat, that loss of a point could cost Fulham a place in the Premier League. So do Fulham get a replay as well? It's nonsense. It's crazy to suggest that more games should be played because of referee mistakes. Referees make mistakes, VARs make mistakes, managers make mistakes, players make mistakes. Mo Salah missed a penalty at Bournemouth last season when he skied it over the crossbar. That was a mistake, but what happens there? Does Mo Salah get to just take it against it as a mistake? No. Ultimately, football isn't a game where decisions are made perfectly right. I mean, we've seen VAR brought in to make the game clearer, to make decisions more clear and avoid this kind of controversy. But ultimately, it still happens because human element is still part of the decision-making process. Had they gone to semi-automated VAR, then maybe it would have been different. But football is not a perfect science, and even with VAR, it's not perfect. You can't have replay games to add more fixtures to an already congested fixture programme. Nobody complains about fixture congestion more than Jurgen Klopp. Nobody's suggesting or advocating an extra game just because Liverpool lost a game on the back of a terrible decision. these things happen, unfortunately. Most teams in the Premier League have suffered for bad refereeing decisions, bad VAR decisions. Liverpool are the latest. We hope it doesn't happen again, but it probably will. But you can't have replays every time the referee makes a mistake.